Today we are going to see how you can integrate Sqaure with Highlevel using Pabbly Connect. Using this method, you can send data when someone makes a payment from Sqaure to Highlevel using Pabbly Connect. So let's get straight into it and see how it can be done. So for this to work, you need admin access into your Sqaure developer account. So now I am inside my Sqaure developer account and I have to create an app or application here. So the first step would be to create an app. So I already have an app, but if you want to create a new app, all you have to do is click here on this plus icon and create a new app. Give the app a new name. So let's give this app a name called test. Then you can select the scope for this app. So in this case, I want to build an app that accepts payment and I can track that payment. So just select this and click next. And audience would be myself. I'm creating this for myself, not for the public. And once you're done, click complete. So I'm not going to build it now. I'm just going to go to the app that I already created. So here I have my app. So I click open. As soon as you go inside the app, you would see the credential section. This is where you can get your API keys for your sandbox or production app. So the next section where you would spend most of your time would be the webhooks. If you go to webhooks, you can see two tabs. One is subscription and one is logs. So if inside subscription, this is where you create a new subscription. So you can create either a sandbox subscription or a production subscription. Let's go create a sandbox subscription now. You can see I have a couple of subscriptions here. If you want to create a new subscription, all you have to do is click here and add a subscription. Give this webhook a name and enter the URL of the webhook and set the API version. You just need to select the default version. You don't have to change anything. And then you have to select the required event that you need. So under events, this is where we are going to look for any changes that's happening under a certain event. So for example, what we would ideally be looking for is when someone makes a payment to an invoice. So if you search for invoice on this page, you can see invoice cancelled, invoice created, invoice deleted. These are all options that we can set a webhook event for. So what we ideally need to look for is when someone makes a payment to that invoice. So invoice payment made is the event that we are subscribing to. If you want to subscribe to other events, feel free to do so, but in this video we will be looking at invoice payment made trigger. So once you've done that, you can scroll down all the way and see if there are any other events that you are interested in. If not, all you have to do is select this and give this webhook a name and give this webhook a URL. So now where do we find this URL? So this is where the Pabbly Connect comes in. There are many reasons why I suggest Pabbly Connect. The main reason is it is so much economical compared to many other tools out there. So let me go to my Pabbly Connect account. So now I am inside my Pabbly Connect and I'm going to create a new workflow. So I'm going to call this testing Sqaure connection and I'm going to create this one. So now the first application that we have to select, or the trigger that we have to select, is webhooks. And the trigger event would be catch a webhook. So as soon as you select that, you will get a webhook URL. This is a URL that you need to copy. So you copy this webhook URL and go back to your Sqaure dashboard. And then you paste that webhook URL in there and give this webhook a name. So we gave the name webhook from Sqaure and we copied that webhook URL from Pabbly Connect, and API version is the default one. You don't need to change anything. Whatever is default, select that. And we have also selected payment, invoice payment made as the event to look for. Once you've done that, all you have to do is click save. Now you can see there's a new webhook has been created called webhook from Sqaure, and the status is sending events. And this is where you can send a test event. So in order to send a test event, all you have to do is click on these three dots and send test event. And from here, from the drop down, you can select the event that we are subscribed to, invoice payment made, and then all the data would be added for that particular event. Now, before we click send, we have to go back and you have to make sure that this webhook is actually waiting for a response. If it is not waiting for a response, click here to make it wait for a response. And then we head back to our Sqaure and we will click send. Now the event is sent and you can see the response is 200 OK, this is a successful event. Now if we go back and look at Pabbly Connect, so now you can see we have already received a response from Sqaure and it is called response A, and then these are the values that we received. So you can see the type that we received is invoice payment made, and the data type is invoice, and the time and the status of the invoice and other details like name, email address, the total amount, and all that. So we have now captured the data successfully. So from now onwards, what would happen is that as soon as someone makes a payment, a webhook event would trigger and the data would be sent to this specific webhook URL. And Pabbly Connect will capture that data and process that data according to however we want it to process. So in order to process that data and send that data over to our Highlevel, we need to set the second application. So in here, we can look for Lead Connect and select Lead Connect version 2 and select an action. And this action could be create or update a contact. Then you have to connect to your lead connector, click on connect. If you haven't connected before, select add new connection and click here. As soon as you click here, all your sub account locations will show up in a pop-up box, and select the account or sub account that you want to connect. So I have already connected one of my sub account. So all I have to do is click save, and then I can map the data from the webhook into my CRM. So first name, you click here, and inside the search box, just search for the name, and then you can see primary recipient given name from the webhook is selected here. You select that name, and last name, similarly go here, search for name, and you find that name here. And for email, search for email, you find that email. Similarly, you go ahead and map all the data that you want and send that data back to your Highlevel. So this is the basic of connecting Sqaure with Highlevel. Now we can take one step even further, and what we can do is we can create a pipeline opportunity straight from Pabbly Connect. So how can we do that? Select another action for lead connector and select lead connector v2 again. And this time, instead of creating or updating a contact, what we are going to do is we are looking for opportunities, and we are going to create or update an opportunity. And click connect and do the same. Connect to your Highlevel account, click save. Once that is saved, you need to select the pipeline ID. In this account, I have a pipeline called customer stage. If you have multiple pipelines, you can just click here, and then as a drop down, you will find that pipelines, and then you have to map the contact ID. So contact ID you would get from this previous step where we create and update our contact. And what we have to do is click here at the bottom, at the extreme bottom, come down and save and test request. So when you do this, this would actually send the data to your CRM. So be careful if you're dealing with an actual email address or anything like that. It would actually trigger certain actions from your CRM. So make sure that you're dealing with either dummy data, or if it is a live data, you don't want them to send some random emails. So make sure that those scenarios are taken care. In this case, this is a dummy data, and this is the email address is at example.com, so it wouldn't go to anyone. So click save and send. If it is a successful request, you would see values here, and you can also see the contact ID in here. And when you go to the next step now and click on contact ID, you can see a new drop down has appeared, and all you have to do is search here contact ID, and you can now access that contact ID. So contact ID is mapped. Now location ID, you don't need location ID because it is already connected to a particular location. Now if you want to add the name for that particular opportunity, you can create that from webhook data or from the lead connector data that you have access to from the previous steps. So one example would be if you look for name, and you can add first name space last name and whatever text you want to add. So let's say this is a deposit payment, so let's call deposit paid. So now the first name last name deposit paid would be the name of the opportunity, and now we need a stage ID. So in order to get this stage ID, we need another action called get pipeline action. Let's go ahead and add another action under lead connector again, lead connector v2, and this time we are looking for get pipeline. So you can see get pipeline is here. Click to connect, save. Now we have connected. So now all you have to do is click here, save and send test request. So now you can see all the stages under all your pipelines in your CRM and the associated stage name and stage ID. So for example, we want to send them to follow-up required stage. You go here and copy this stage ID and go back to this step and enter that stage ID in here. So this is a crucial step. Depending on the ID that you put in here, this opportunity will get updated or created under that specific stage. So once you finish with that, we don't really need this step anymore, so you can delete this. Now we got stage ID, status is open, that's good. We don't really need source. If you want to add source, you can add source here. If you want to assign this opportunity to some of your user, you can do so from here, and this is where you add that monetary value of this transaction. Since someone is paying via invoice, we can use that value from webhook. So if you go here and search amount, you can see there are a few amounts: completed amount, computed amount. So completed amount is the amount that they paid. Computed amount is the amount that we send via the invoice. So sometimes computed amount and completed amount could be different. Computed amount could be like, let's say $5,000, and the client has only paid $1,000. So in that case, computed amount would be $5,000, while the completed amount would be just $1,000. So in here, you can either use computed amount to show the total deal value, or you could use completed amount to show the value that they paid. So I'm just going to use computed amount because that's the total value for the deal. With that, we have pretty much completed creating or updating an opportunity. All you have to do now is to click save. If you want to see if it is working or not, click here on save and send request. I can give you one extra tip. So if you want to show the amount paid as a opportunity name, you can do so by going here and selecting that amount value. So if you select this completed amount, deposit paid is this much slash, and the computed amount is 1,000. So you can see this person has paid this much amount out of this much amount. So in this way, you can create very dynamic opportunity name using the value from the webhook. One thing you need to remember here is that the amount you see here will be added with 2 extra decimals. What you see here is actually $100 with 2 extra zeros. So if you want to show actual dollar amount, what you could do is add a step previous to that. and look for number formatter. So if you add number formatter, select perform math operation and connect, and you can select the number from here, amount. So let's say the computed amount, we have the number we selected is the computed amount, and the operation that we need to do is divide, and divide it by 100 so that we get the actual currency values. How can we do the division? You select the number and put a comma and use the second number. So in this case, this will get divided by the second number. So if you want to make sure if it is working properly, click here, save and send request. Sometimes you would get an error message like this. It wouldn't show anything. All you have to do then is to click save and go back to some other step and go back again. And then you would see sometimes this strange things might happen, like this div HTML code would appear and whatever you're trying to do wouldn't work. So just go to another step and come back, and then send the test request again. So now you can see this result is 100, and now you can use this result on any steps after this. So for example, if we go here, if you want to use that value in your, so you can see there is a div has happened here. Sometimes it's a kind of a bug, so just be careful about that. And now if we go here to update the name of the opportunity, so deposit paid could be selected from this number 3 where we did the math operation. Click on that, and then you can select this result, and this result would appear here. So now you get the actual dollar value, and you can use it on any other steps after number 3 step. So that's how you use Pabbly Connect to get data from Sqaure and update it on your GoHighLevel account. So now what we have is a sandbox webhook subscription. What you actually need is a production webhook subscription. You go to production and create a subscription just like we created on sandbox. Add subscription, give a name, add a URL, which is going to be the webhook URL from Pabbly, and select API version and go all the way down and select invoice payment made. Select invoice payment made and then click save. Once you have that, you can click here and send a test request to see if it is working or not. And once you set that up, so whenever someone makes a payment towards an invoice, it will be captured by Pabbly and will be sent back to your GoHighLevel account via Pabbly Connect. So that's how you connect Sqaure and GoHighLevel using Pabbly Connect. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help. So that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.